What's going on, everybody? It's Ruben here with Alpaca Trading. All right, Sean, my man, my fellow pilot and colleague, requested this video. Of course, I had to oblige. Thanks, Mike, for letting me know about this. We are going to be talking today about something actually a very, very important feature or something that you need to have in your toolbox as a trader for both options and normal stock, and that is understanding how to read level 2 as well as time and sales. So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about what they are and how they can help us understand the direction of where the stock is going, as well as help us understand future levels of support and resistance. So this is actually, a way that we can kind of look into, a couple of seconds or maybe 30 seconds or a minute into the future and see what's going to happen with the stock price of, let's say in this case, Apple. So I'm going to just kind of show you guys how I got to this point right here. So I'm just going to remove it all together. Okay, so this is just a normal chart, right? So what I'm doing is, since it's already like aftermarket right now, level 2 is not being very active. So I'm actually on the on-demand feature, which allows me to kind of look at what Apple did back in time, and it lets me replay an entire trading day. So that's why you're seeing this move right here. You're going to see October 5th. 2018 right here, so ignore that. This is just for educational purposes. So all right, we're going back in time. October 5th, 2018. Apple is currently trading at $227.99. I'm just gonna pretend that I'm Marty McFly and I took my DeLorean back in time, and I am just going to short the heck out of Apple, because there's no way they're gonna see what's coming in November, right? Anyway, I'm going to click on the sidebar right here. If you guys can see my mouse on the total right side of Thinkorswim, there is a place called Level 2, and there's one called Active Trader, and then another one called Time and Sales. Now, Time and Sales is what you see here on the right. Level 2 is what you see here at the bottom, and this is your Active Trader. I'm going to focus mostly on Level 2 and time and sales, and really explain how you can use those to really understand where a stock is going to go. All right, so let's start with level 2. So level 2 is right here. Okay, so on the left side, okay, you have basically the bid. Okay, so this is what people want. This is the price that people want to pay for Apple right this second. On the right part, you have the ask. This is what people want to sell Apple for. So a stock like Apple, which is, very liquid, and it's one of the biggest companies in the world, the difference between the bid and the ask is going to be very small. So the slippage, so to speak, or the what people are willing, the difference, the spread, so to speak, is going to be very small. So you can see here 227.60 and 227. It's changing all the time, but it's only going to be the difference of maybe 3 or 4 cents. Sometimes it's even less, like if you trade SPY, for example. So what you see here on the left are the market makers, the exchanges. So you can see, you'll recognize NYSE, you'll see Amex, you'll see BATS, you'll see basically these are the exchanges that are routing orders into the market, and there's a ton of different ones, right? Because people basically trade all over the world, and it's just a ton of different exchanges. So NASDAQ, you have NYSE, you have Amex, you have just a bunch of different exchanges, BATS. Anyway, you get the point. So if you see here where it says BS, right? This and the number that is kind of below it, you're going to multiply that by 100, and that's going to show you how many orders are being sent through that exchange at any given second, right? So if you see a 2 or a 4, that means that there's 400 stock. So there's a batch of 400 shares of Apple that people want to buy. Same thing here on the right, you see this guy right here, 30, right? There is basically 30. There's 3,000 stocks that have been put together where people want to sell it at just keeps moving at exactly $229.99. Okay, so this right here, this number 30 can give us an understanding of support and resistance, right? So there's 3,000. Just a ton of people that want to sell the stock at that price. Okay, so if I see like 30 or 50, okay, on the ask price, that means that 229.99 is most likely going to be a pretty big resistance, right? Because people here on the left have to now figure out if they actually want to buy, like if somebody wants to, let's say, purchase 5,000 shares of Apple, right? Well, they're probably not gonna be filled at exactly like 227.42 or 227.43. They may be filled partly here, and then eventually, if they cannot get filled at their limit price, they're gonna have to go to these guys that are selling it at 229.99, right? So same thing here on the left side. If you see like a number 50 or a number 30, that means that there's a ton of buyers at that level, which means that is where you will find support, because you want to try to figure out where most people have put their limit orders, right? And where they're willing to buy the stock again. Once you see a giant number down here, that means that, so for example, right now it's at 218, right? So you see 1,800 shares that people have put to purchase it if Apple goes down to 218. So what that kind of gives you a snapshot into the future that there may be major support at 218. So this is not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea of where support and resistance levels are. So in order for, if we go to the right side of the ask price, in order for Apple to go above 229.99, okay, all these people over here and all these little numbers are gonna eventually have to punch through this wall of 30 people, or not 30 people, of 30 orders times 100 that exist at the 229.99 level. So again, it helps you figure out the support and resistance into the future and where people are putting their limit orders. Okay, so the level 2 and the way it's moving and the way that the numbers here on the right give you a really good idea of what may happen once again with the stock in the future, right? So if you see it basically green, the stock is moving up. If you see it red, the stock is moving down. Same thing here on the right. If you see it green, it's moving up. If you see it red, it's coming down. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. That is a level 2. So this is basically everybody that is not purchasing Apple at market rates. They are putting a limit order. They're saying, I only want to buy or sell if somebody else wants to, let's say on the right side, I only want to sell at this price if somebody from the left, the bidder, wants to pay for that. And they just leave the order there waiting for it to be filled, and somebody will eventually, and if the stock moves up, somebody will eventually purchase it at that price, and that is how the stock either keeps going up or keep going down. Okay, so that's level 2, and that's a kind of simplified version of level 2. Now you guys are going to see these 647.12, 642.24. Ignore that. That's just people that are kind of trying to trick you sometimes, and just so that it's kind of like a way for people to not get caught up in insider trading. I personally think it's kind of silly, but the point is that some of these numbers you're going to see like 100 here at like maybe 208 or 100 at like 647. Ignore those. Just focus on the ones that say 227, the ones that are closest to the actual price, so that where you can see the action. And then here at 218, you have people that are willing to buy it at that point. So if let's say Apple would drop, you can pretty much have an understanding that at 218 there's going to be a lot of buyers, right? So again, gives you an idea of support and resistance. Okay, so then now we have time and sales. So time and sales is basically everything that people are hoping to achieve with level 2. Time and sales shows you what the transaction was actually at, the exact price the transaction was actually made at. So this happens like several times per second, right? So everything in green shows you the buys, everything in red shows you the sells. And the number here shows you how many stocks were purchased. 100, 250, 1,250 were sold. So obviously, if Apple is about to break out, okay, and it's on a consistent uptrend, you're going to see this entire time and sales window be green. And when you see it be more green than red, that means that the price action is suggesting a huge move up. If all you see here is red, then it's probably losing steam, or it's about to go on, or it's in the middle of a downtrend. So there's a lot of information that you guys can get from time and sales as well as level 2, but you have to give your brain time to really get accustomed to the speed of it, okay? So what I would say in terms of time and sales, just focus on two things: the colors and the numbers. So if you suddenly see like a bunch of like hundreds green, but you see like 1,500, 800 red, and you see more red than green and the higher numbers on the right, I don't know why it went away. Oh, here it comes again. Then it gives you an idea that maybe Apple, so right now, as you can see here on the right, there's more red than green. Like, see all that red right there? And look at the candle, see? There's that red candle right there that shows that, boom, it's coming down, right? And then as the candle tries to fight the bears, you may see a little bit more green. But as you can see here on the right, there's more red than green, and that is what this candle is showing you, right? And that is also combined with the number here on the right that shows you how many shares are being bought or sold. So if you see 100, that's actually 100 shares. It's not like a block. But if you see 500, 1,800, that's the actual number of shares that somebody traded at that second. And this thing is happening like, like hundreds of transactions a minute, if not more. Okay, so that's time and sales. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so last but not least, let's look at the active trader. So the active trader, oops, one sec. So the active trader point right here helps me kind of get a more visual representation of where the stock is and where I want to put my stop losses and take my profits. So this little kind of gray line right here is where Apple is currently trading at. So 226.82 to 226.83. So let's say that I want to purchase Apple if it gets to 226.94. So I'm going to go up to 226.94 and I'm going to do buy 100, stop. So that means that only if it gets to 226.94 am I going to purchase Apple. So I'm going to put 1,000. Do confirm and send, and it's going to show me my cost of the trade. Oh, actually that's probably too much. I'm just going to do 100. Confirm and send, and then I'm going to click send. All right, and as you can see here, it put my stop right around here. So only if Apple gets to 226.94, that's when 100 shares are going to be bought. Okay, now let's just say that I want to set a stop loss, right? So let's say I'm going to set my stop loss at the bottom here. It looks like it's reaching a new low of day. So I'm going to set my stop loss at, let's say, 20 cents below 226.35. So 226.15. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to 226.15, and I'm going to do sell 100 stop, send. Okay, so as you can see now, what it's done is it has put in an order, okay, to buy 100 shares of Apple only if it gets to this level, and once it basically executes it, it's going to sell those hundreds it's going to sell those 100 shares at 226.15. But in order for this to work, I have to purchase the stock first. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, with my mouse and with my little pointer here, I'm going to bring this down close to where it's currently at. And now I'm in Apple, right? So now now it just kind of, because I put it near where the price is, it's almost like a market order. So now it's showing me here that I have 100 shares. My average price was 226.22, okay? And this is my profit, and I don't know if you guys can see my mouse here, but up here is my profit and loss, the open, and then my PL for the day. So, you know, I'm like, okay, no, this is tanking. I'm gonna risk no more than 50 bucks. So I'm gonna put my stop up. I'm gonna put my stop loss, let's say, at 225.73. Okay, so 225.73. So I can just right click down here, 225.73, and I'm gonna do sell custom with stop. And then I'm gonna put 226. It's already gone below it. I'm gonna put hold on. I'm just gonna do it right here. So sell 100 stop 225.71. Boom. Okay. So now my stop is right here. So it means that if Apple goes below 225.71, it's just gonna automatically sell my stock, right? So that way I am protected to the downside. That is how I manage my risk. I bought it at 226.22. I'm setting my stop loss at 225.71, which is about 50 cents. That's the most I'm going to lose. Okay, so that's $50 is my max loss for this trade. Okay, so now as you can see, it looks like we hit a low of day here, and Apple is now on its way back up, and you can see it here in my PL day. And see how much money I am making in the active trader tab. So this is all happening live. All these numbers that you see here are the amount of orders that are happening at this price level. So if I now go to my level 2, right, all of these numbers coincide with the numbers here. And then if I go into my time and sales, it's like everything that's happening around here, it's going to show you how many stocks are being bought and sold. So all these three are connected. Okay, so as of now, I've made $7. Okay, $10. Let's go back to level 2, and let's take active trader out. Oops. Okay, so now Apple is on an uptrend. Okay, I'm $5 to $10 in profit so far. And I want to know if this uptrend is going to continue. So let's use what we've learned. Let's go to time and sales and level 2 and see if we can spot some kind of a trend, right? So right here, I see there's 20 or 2,000 stocks that want to be sold at 230.90. Okay, so 230.90 is all the way up here. So that's not going to work basically for the example that I'm trying to make. But look at how much green I see here on the right. That means that, okay, there's more green than red. It's going to continue going up. We see the numbers here fluctuate very quickly to the upside. That means that everything's looking good so far. More green than red on time and sales. Apple is still going up. Let's see if we can just wait. And so far, I'm up $30. Let's see if we can wait for this trend to stop so that we can see the difference of what's going to happen here in the time and sales. Now remember, the time and sales and the colors are also based on how many shares are being purchased. So obviously if you see one green with 5,000 shares bought, it's going to have more weight on the overall than just a bunch of 100 share orders. But you get the point, right? You're trying to see colors here to kind of figure out where the stock is going. Okay, so now it looks like it's going to consolidate. So once it's consolidating, you're going to see 50% red, 50% green. If it's going to go back up, oh, suddenly it's coming back up. Look at how much green I see, right? So it gives you an idea of the health of the stock, like down to the second. So as of now, my profit and like my PL is -7. This looks like it's going to die. I don't think it's going to continue. So if I want to exit my position, I can click flatten right here, or just move my stop loss to the candle. Send. And now I'm out. And I lost $10. Cool. So I hope this made sense. Level 2, time and sales, and active trader. All right, guys, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me, Mike, or Kayla. We are here to help you guys out. Peace.